today we'll be having a look at Fiora. Champion with great sustain, one of the most unique kits in the game, and apparently the only French person in League's universe. Anyways, let's talk about runes. First off, you always want to go for Conqueror, because, you know, Fiora is about long fights and consistent damage. So this will help you a lot, and since it increases your damage and your only way to upgrade your passive is to get more damage, this can change types of battle because you will deal more true damage, eventually dealing so much damage that no one can stop you. What I'm trying to say is go Conqueror every time. Then Triumph again is almost instant pick because you do have a high mana costs later on, but you're fine even when you are low on mana. So just go for Conqueror and get that health. Altogether with additional 20 gold, which doesn't seem like much, but everything counts on Fiora. And then we got Alacrity, because Fiora is based on attack speed, kind of, mostly. And last stand because of your ultimate and passive, providing you with a lot of heal, so you will be able to deal a lot of damage while you are low, and you will be able to stay that for a long time. For secondary runes, it gets a bit more interesting. My recommended tree is using magical footwear and biscuits, because you don't need to use money on boots early, since you will be buying other more valuable items. And then you will move really fast, and it will enhance your queue. So that's it, and biscuit delivery, so you can go for shorter trades early on. Other option is going for sorcery with Nimbus Cloak and Gathering Storm. While Nimbus Cloak can possibly be replaced by Transcendence, but this is, in my opinion, a better option, where you know you're going for the late game. With Nimbus Cloak's movement speed, oh my god, movement speed after Summoner spell, and Gathering Storm is with long, long fights and long games, the best rune ever, possibly, if it's really long. But I still stand by that magical footwear and biscuits are better. And lastly, you always want to go for attack speed, adaptive force, and magic resist or armor, depending on matchup. That's everything for runes. I'll see you with everything else in the video. Okay, so let's have a look at it. First off, for summoners, flash is instant, and then you can go for teleport or ignite. I see a lot of people going for ignite because yes, Fiora has in her name that she is a duelist, so ignite is quite good on her, but every time I go for top laner, I usually want the TP. So it's a personal preference. But out of this and into items. So for starting item, you, at least in my opinion, you always want to go for the Earn's Blade and Health Potion. Only difference is when you're going against uh, a high range matchup. So for example, if you are forced to go against Quinn or something like that, you obviously want to go for Earn's Shield. But apart from starting items, when you first back, you always want to go for Tiamat. Because Tiamat is your actually will be your main source of wave killer, because you don't have any ability that targets more than one enemy. So Tiamat is, at least in my opinion, a must go. After that, if you get some kills, which you should, you probably will try to build Hydra as your first item, because it gives you healing, it gives you haste, it gives you all you want. Then you will probably once you've got this, you already got your boots. So you will want to go for Stride Breaker, which again, and here comes the thing. If you are uh, in a normal matchup with basic team, you want to go for Stride Breaker because first off, it gives you nice stats, it improves your Q and movement speed, but the thing is that it has the dash, which you can use to trigger your ultimate more easily. If you don't want to go for Stride Breaker, just take God Drinker instead, which will give you a lot of healing, but more importantly, it will give you the ability to fight against melee matchups more easily. So if enemy team has lot of a lot of melee matchups, you will go for God Drinker more easily because you know that you will get that healing guaranteed. But as I said before, I like Stridebreaker more. And for boots, it depends. You usually want to go one of the tanky boots, so most of the time I usually go for Mercury Threads because CC is your worst enemy. Even though you can deflect one of that. But let's go back. For continuous items, I usually go, depending again on the matchup, either for Blade of the Ruined King, which gives you a lot of value because you got everything you want again. And then I usually go for Dev's Dance and GA because GA on Fiora is actually one of the best uses of GA. Because, you know, all that healing, Fiora, yada yada yada. You can obviously replace Dev's Dance with End for matchups against AP, but you know, those are just situational items which depends on you personally. Now, let's have a look at the more interesting parts. So, first off, your passive is basically a little mini game they add into the game, and as you can see, when I hit the target from this direction, it will deal. And let's have a look. Bonus damage according to their max health, and the damage is true. Also, you will get a bonus movement speed, which increases with levels on your ultimate, and you will heal for some damage, which is quite high even in the early game, so it's a great poke ability. Yeah, I'd say. Important part about this is the spawning of the, what is it called, weakness or vital, or the vitals. So every time you hit one, well, let's say it like this. You got 4 vitals. Every time an enemy will appear, it will be on this side right here. Let's just call them quadrants. This is quadrant 1, 2, 3, and 4. When you appear, it will be in quadrant 1 and 4. Yikes. Well, but every time you hit, for example, right now I hit quadrant 4, you have guaranteed that it will be in quadrant 1 and 2. Oh my god, I just can't count. In these 2 quadrants. Basically, that's how it works. When you hit a vital in these 2, it will appear here. In these 2, it will appear here. And that's guaranteed. So you can kind of predict where to go, and that's one of the uses of your Q, which we're getting right now. So your Q is a dash with being able to damage anyone in this circle. Prioritize it obviously triggers all on hit effects together with your vitals. So The way you want to use this ability is basically once you hit the first vital, you know that the enemy will have them on the other side. So you basically want to dash there instantly and get your bonus movement speed. Another thing about your Q is that, as you can see, this is your auto attack range and this is your Q range. So if you don't want to commit, you can just use it as instead of auto attack to damage enemy from further away. The target it prioritizes is very simple. First off, it goes for vitals, then it goes for enemies that it can kill, and then it goes for champions over minions and monsters. And obviously, the dash speed, the distance it takes to travel, is decreased with your movement speed. Then we got your W, which is one of my favorite abilities in the game. It also can trigger vitals, and for 0.75 seconds, you will become invulnerable to any damage and CC. This counts everything apart from tower shots. So if they try to hit you with, for example, summoner spell like Ignite, during this, you will actually destroy that Ignite and let them waste that. You also, every time you would get hit by an immobilizing ability, like for example, stuns, knockups, roots, you get the idea. You will stun your enemy for 2 seconds. If you won't do that, you will just slow them. I believe it's 50%. Yeah, 50% for 2 seconds, which still is really strong. This is one of the reasons why Fiora is hard, because you are an answer champion. You will try to get your W up at the time when it's more valuable. It's not always when you will get CC'd. For example, when you're fighting against Darius, you don't want to use your W on his E. You probably want to save it for when he's trying to use his ultimate or when he's trying to use his Q. So this is really depending on your mindset and how you want to use it. And that's anything I can think of saying about it right now. I believe, yes. Then we got your blade work, which is your basically stat buff. So you will get 90% attack speed. You can see the numbers down here. For your next two attacks. The first attack you will deal will slow your target. The other one is a guaranteed critical hit. And also it's an auto attack reset. So basically what you wanna do in fight is get these extremely fast free hits, which looks like this. And as you can see, I accidentally hit 4, but it was 2400 damage to a target without no armor. Thing about this is that you still get locked when the animation is going. So the auto attack reset is really cool because you can then do something like this and quickly kill the target. It's a really good ability. Auto attack resets are really strong, and with the removal of auto attack reset from Tiamat, it's even stronger now. And now we're getting to your ultimate. For 8 seconds, you will reveal vitals on the enemy, as you can see right here. If you hit all of them, you will heal your teammates for the duration, increasing with every vital you've revealed. So if you get all 4 vitals, you will be healing your team for 5 seconds. The healing scales with AD, and obviously you're revealing 4 vitals, which it nicely shows right now it's 61 of max health of the enemy. And that's the thing I was talking about Conqueror before. If you stack it up, it's suddenly 70% of targets health gone. And that's just from the ultimate. You obviously can use everything else you got to get that bit of health left, and it's just so strong. It's good against tanks. When you use it on some squishy, you just delete them instantly. And it's a really strong and game-changing ability. So now that we got me talking about how Fiora is great out of the way, let's just quickly have a look at her combos, which she does have a few, but it's more about the importance than how many there are. So first off, is actually a really easy one, which basically is using your W during your Q. So as you can see right now, if I would dash over here, I can dash, and during the dash nothing can happen to me. So this is extremely valuable against enemies like Jinx or Caitlyn, where you can travel through their traps without nothing happening to you. And yeah, also you will have your target slowed for 2 seconds. Actually, it's more than 2 seconds because if we're talking about the Jinx and Caitlyn, you will be deflecting that. But it's just a really cool thing that you can do to chase targets because if you even happen to hit them with your Q, it will get reduced cooldown, which that is a thing I forgot to talk about. Your Q will have halved its cooldown if you hit an enemy while using it. Anyways, that's basically how it looks. It's easy, actually one of the easiest combos to do, but real effective. And the rest of the combos is like I guess that obviously you got your auto attack reset, but we won't call that a combo. Is about triggering your ultimate. So when you do you the most oh my god, the most easy one is to ulti, auto attack straight after, E, flash, Q, and then auto attack. I will show this probably in slow motion too, just so you know, but it's really strong and you will be able to delete enemies really quickly. And with that out of the way, let's have a look at the laning matchups and the rest. So first off, you will always want to play carefully at early levels because both your W and E have extremely long cooldowns early. E is, I believe it's 11, yeah, E is 11 seconds and W is 26 seconds. Meaning that you will have to play really carefully on where to strike. You just want to keep the game on your part of the line, and every time you get an opportunity, you want to use your Q to strike a vital on target. Because not only will you deal some damage and heal yourself, it's also really safe because of the speed buff you get on your passive. And if you get target low enough, you can actually push them out of the line, which if you saw the starting clip happened there, I got Aurelion Cell top. I don't know if it's some strange guy trying to go something that is suddenly meta, or if he was just dumb, but he went Aurelion Cell top and tried to poke me out. But because of my Q and passive, I just healed everything up and damaged him, and then he couldn't come into lane, I got lead. It's really nice and effective. You obviously want to start your Q because it's the only ability that gives you uh, actually some value because you can use it more than once in a fight. Then you will want to go with your W second because it's usually the better option unless you are either really sure that you will win the fight or you really know that you will get pushed under your tower and you need your E to farm effectively. So extreme cases go E, otherwise go W and then E. Maxing will be Q first, E second, W last, because on E the cooldowns go down much more quickly, so it's more effective. And yes, you do well against uh, almost everyone if it's a 1v1. Again, the duelist. But most importantly, you will try to be split pushing because now with few patches back, but Fiora can now damage towers with her Q, which means that, well, there are no minions now, but so it will be a bit longer, but let's have a look at it, okay? So basically you will want to be pushing almost every time of the game because they will have to send one person to kill you because you will we win the game automatically. If they send one person to kill you, they will automatically lose because you have all your 1v1 potential. And with all your 1v1 potential, you will very easily kill that person. And now they lost a player. They are going 4v4 and they may lose. So if they send two players just to quickly get rid of you, they are now fighting 3v2 unless they picked someone of your team. But now we're just too I am too hypothetical. So Fiora is a great split pusher, and I always try to have my TP up, so in case I really need to, I can get into the team fight. And yeah, one of your worst matchups, if you would like to know, is going to be, for example, Cannon, because he's the only champion whose stun you can't block. Otherwise, it's just matchups like, for example, Malphite, because with his Q, he basically achieves the same thing as you with your passive, but he can do it from range. Also, every time you try to poke him, he has his shield, so it's really hard to take him down. And then just, pre level 6 strong champions like Pantheon. And yes, it's going to be everything for Fiora. I hope you learned something, and I'll see you in the next video. Petri out.